was chaos, quite frankly. I am back with another Grand Prix review for the 2023 Formula 1 season, and as ever, I will be giving my rating out of 10 of the race at the end. And I will say, that was definitely the most entertaining race of the season so far, but given how boring the first two races were, then having a race more entertaining than them is about as easy as winning a race if you're driving a Red Bull and your name is Max Verstappen. Okay, best race of the season so far, ignoring lap 1 for me personally, given I'm a Leclerc fan, that's probably going to come as a surprise to absolutely no one. And on Ferrari, let's just get my thoughts on Ferrari out of the way now, then we can move on. The Leclerc-Stroll incident, I agree with the stewards here. It was a racing incident, it was no one's fault really. In fact, a tweet here from Scuderia Brandon sums it up quite nicely, I think. He said it looks to him like Stroll released the brake, went 18% on throttle to defend from Leclerc, and he believes that Stroll awkwardly positioned himself between Leclerc and Alonso, also stating that it is avoidable if you tell the Monegasque to not overtake and tell the Canadian to not defend. But that's racing, as all that glitz here agrees with here. I feel like these two tweets I've mentioned sum it all up quite nicely. It was a racing incident. Stroll was awkwardly placed in between two cars, and Charles was, as you do when you're racing, going for a move. And sadly for him, it ended with him stuck in the gravel. But I mean, at least one Leclerc had a good weekend, because a quick congratulations to Arthur Leclerc, who has had his best weekend of F2 so far. Best quality of P7, that was P4 for the sprint race, where he finished P4 and he snagged the first podium at P3 in the feature race, so congrats to the youngest Leclerc brother. Now this Sainz-Alonso incident, I also agree with the stewards. Might be a bit of an unpopular opinion because I've seen a lot of people who think Sainz shouldn't have gotten a penalty, but no, in my opinion, Sainz deserved that 5-second penalty. I will say, when he was told about that on the radio, I don't think I've ever heard him so distraught before. And as I said, I know a lot of people think he didn't deserve the penalty, but the incident still happened regardless of on that last lap trundling behind the safety car restart. Alonso had been reinstated to P3 in the order reshuffling. The incident still happened, and if the race hadn't been red flagged on that initial second restart, or if other people hadn't gone off and caught the red flag, Sainz would have been P3 after spinning Alonso out. That's just my thoughts. Painful to see Ferrari leave with no points, but shit happens. Should the stewards have waited until after the race had ended and spoken to Carlos first before handing him the penalty? Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on that one. In some ways yes, some ways no, I don't know. What do you make of the Ferrari incident? Do you agree with the decisions made by the stewards? I know Sainz didn't on his one. He called it the most unfair penalty he's ever seen, but let me know your thoughts down below. Now, let's talk red flags, shall we? 3 effing red flags. 3. Uno, dos, tres. Ignore my Spanish pronunciation. The first one for gravel and debris on track, which, okay then, bit of a strange choice to put a red flag out for. And honestly, circuit people, you do you. But it didn't have to screw over George Russell and Carlos Sainz, who had just pitted. I'm not entirely convinced that needed a red flag. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you on that one, but whatever man, you do you. Then there was the Kevin Magnussen incident that brought out the second red flag, which, well, I'm sorry, but I cannot help but laugh a little at the right rear tire just yeeting off the car. It's like the car hit the wall and the right rear tire was just like, right, I'm gonna head out now, see you later. Like, I swear, when they threw the safety car out for that one, I was like, yeah, this is so gonna finish under safety car. And that's the right thing to think, given it was like lap 55 or something, but then nope. Red flag. Then there was the third red flag, the details of which I'll get into in a moment, but that is a new record for red flags in an F1 race at 3. Now, restarts. What on earth was that formation lap for this first red flag restart? It kind of reminded me of Mugello 2020's safety car restart, but no one crashed this time. They just all almost came to a stop. Then the second red flag restart. You know, the one that contained the Sainz-Alonso incident and all the other madness that went on. I think it was De Vries and Sargent going off at turn 1. Stroll forgot how to brake at turn 3. The Alpines collided, which I think is something we all expected to happen at some point this year, given the fact that Ocon does have a bit of a habit of rubbing other drivers the wrong way, specifically his teammates. That one was investigated, the Ocon-Gasly incident, but it was no penalties in the end, which makes sense. They don't tend to penalise teammate on teammate incidents. But honestly, I've never been more confused in my whole entire life watching F1. During that red flag period, not knowing what the order would be, what the restart thing would be, it's so much confusion going on. If it would have been that order that it was when the red flag was thrown, or if it would go back to the order from the last restart, as they hadn't been able to have a set running order prior to the red flag, and of course them resetting the grid to the order of that second red flag restart minus the cars that were out, and running one freaking lap behind the safety car for literally no other reason other than photos and shits and giggles, I guess, has protested the race results. Because of course Hulk was close to a podium, and if they didn't reset it and just went for the order when the flag was thrown, he'd have gotten a podium because of Sainz's penalty. That protest came to nothing, as I think we could probably expect. Although mind you, when has protesting a race result ever come to something? And in slightly stranger conclusions to the race, a representative of the Australian Grand Prix Corporation, or whatever it's called, also got called to the stewards for fans being on the track for the post-race track invasion before they were allowed to be, which, how stupid do you need to be to do that, honestly? It's definitely the first time I've seen someone from the circuit owners / organizers get called to the stewards. It's definitely a new one on me, but this is the outcome of all that. But yeah, there was also this with Max Verstappen on one of the restarts. I'm not quite sure which red flag restart it was, but he was parked dangerously close to getting a penalty for being out of position in his grid box. It was okay, nothing was investigated there, but he was cutting it very, very fine to getting a penalty. And one more thing that I actually forgot about in the lap 57 melee, Logan Sargent. I mentioned him and De Vries were off at turn 1. How was that not investigated by the stewards? Sargent just basically went straight into the back of De Vries, both went off. How Sargent didn't get a penalty for it is beyond me. Honestly, I think the FIA have had an absolute fucking mare today. But my overall rating, I'm giving this race a 6 out of 10. It was entertaining to watch. As I said, it was definitely better than Bahrain and Saudi, but also, as I said, not exactly a very difficult task there. But at the same time, there was damn all in terms of strategy this race, because of all the incidents, the strategy book just got thrown out the window, and there was quite a big period in the race where nothing happened. Max got into the lead and then he just checked the F out. Albon crashed as well. I almost forgot about that. I almost forgot about Alex Albon crashing. Painful for him. He was running in like, what, P6 or something like that at the time. And also, personally, as a Ferrari fan, it is painful to see them leave Australia with 0 points, and as a Leclerc fan, painful to see him go out with like 15 seconds after lights out. But that's just what I think. What do you think of the race? What's your rating of the 2023 Australian Grand Prix out of 10? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new to keep up to date with all my Formula 1 content, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.